Is ABC going to bring Jimmy Kimmel back? Oh, they folded once and now they're going to fold back in the other direction. Jimmy Kimmel, ABC has just announced Jimmy Kimmel is coming back. My name is Graham Elwood. You are watching the Bitcoin Vigilante. Like, share, subscribe. And we have our new channel, Bitcoin Hollywood. Please check that out. We're at bitcoin-hollywood.com. So let's just get right into it. This was just announced earlier today. It's about a little after 6 o'clock Monday night on the West Coast, 9 o'clock on the East Coast. So you saw last week, Jimmy Kimmel was fired by ABC, and this is in Yahoo Entertainment. Jimmy Kimmel Live to return to the air Tuesday after suspension for Charlie Kirk comments, ABC says. ABC will be putting Jimmy Kimmel Live back on the air Tuesday, less than a week after the show was abruptly suspended over comments made by the host. The network announced last Wednesday the popular late night show would be suspended indefinitely in response to Kimmel's comments about the political reporter, the political response to conservative activist Charlie Kirk's death. Last Wednesday, we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. The Walt Disney Company, which owns ABC, said in a statement on Monday. And then it is a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy. After those conversations, we reached a decision to return the show on Tuesday. Thoughtful conversation means you got like all these Hollywood celebrities were like, what? And I saw some conservative people post online, you know, that liberals are hypocritical because Roseanne got kicked off the air, you know, a year or two ago. And I really want to explain that, why those are two very different things. So Roseanne said some racist, offensive stuff on her show, and Joe Biden didn't call up the FCC and say, you better pull her off the air or I'm going to pull your license. That's what Donald Trump did to ABC. Donald Trump used the office of the president because a comedian was making jokes about him. And you can say maybe the joke wasn't that good or it was insensitive about Charlie Kirk. Yeah. That's your right, but the president used the office of the presidency to call up the FCC, a federal organization that is under the purview of the president. He used his power to censor somebody. Joe Biden didn't pressure ABC. Joe Biden didn't say you better fire her. He didn't do what Trump did. ABC, a private company, was under pressure from viewers and sponsors saying we're not going to, it's a business. Network TV's corporate media is a business. So it's not the same thing. You can say, I think ABC folded in kicking Roseanne off. That's fair. Corporate TV is not about freedom of speech. It's about making money. Let's be real clear. But it's not the same thing. It's just not. Just from a legal standpoint, it's absolutely not the same thing. President Trump used the office of the president to threaten the FCC, say, I'm going to pull ABC's license, which means ABC would not be able to bring in its billions of dollars in ad revenue. And Jimmy Kimmel, let's just be real clear, as a stand-up comic, as a political comedian, Jimmy Kimmel and all the late night stand-up hosts are very safe. They're not edgy at all. That's how they get those jobs. You get a job working network TV because you're safe and you're not controversial. So, you know, and while I don't think Charlie Kirk deserved to be shot, he did say a lot of racist, offensive things. Charlie Kirk did say black women are not smart enough. He said he was going to pay for to bail out the guy that broke into Nancy Pelosi's home. You know, I made a joke when they broke into Nancy Pelosi's home. I said, wow, that's one way to deal with insider trading. I made that joke publicly. I wasn't celebrating the fact that they got broken into, but if I was a late night TV host, there would have been a bunch of controversies. But I just want to go back to the late night TV host thing for a second. There's a reason why Bill Hicks and George Carlin never got offered jobs doing late night TV. And look, David Letterman, I loved Letterman when he was in his, peak. When I was in college and stuff, and I'd watch Letterman. I mean, I thought he was awesome. But Jay Leno, very safe. Jimmy Kimmel, safe. Jimmy Fallon, very safe. They're safe. You have to be that kind of. And I know this world. Look, I hosted game shows. I hosted Strip Poker and I hosted Cram on the Game Show Network. I did over 300 episodes of TV, and I was in that world in the early 2000s. And when like Craig Kilborn left the Late Late Show, I wasn't on like the short list, but I was a name that was bandied about, and my name was thrown about for Jimmy Kimmel's when ABC wanted to do a late night talk show. Kimmel had done the Man Show. So I know this world, and I know how safe, and you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't say this. So, but this is a threat to freedom of speech. And one thing, I made a video about this and I put this on my Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and everything. Look, like I saw W. Kwame Bell say, Jimmy Kimmel's the canary in the coal mine. No. That the canaries in the coal mine have been people like myself and Lee Camp and other stand-up comics. We've been highly, highly censored. And, I started doing this channel in 2017, and I was, a progressive leftist who was calling out the two-party system. I was very critical of the Democratic Party and the Republicans, but I was probably more critical of the Democrats because I was calling out the war machine. But I saw it early on. Anytime I'd post a video that had the words Yemen or Iraq or anything, Gaza, and this was back in 2017, 2018, the video itself would get demonetized. And I remember hiring an editor, and she saw it happen in real time. And she was like, she didn't believe me until she saw it happening. And I was demonetized in February of 2021, meaning YouTube took away all my money. And when I used to live stream, I used to get 300 to 400 people, and 500 to 1,000 if I had a big name guest. There's 17 people watching right now. I mean, this is how much I've been throttled. And YouTube was about 40% of my revenue. I'd get money from the super chats and from the ads, and they took that away. And I filed an appeal, and they said, we'll get back to you in 30 to 60 days. And that was 2.5 years. February of 2021 to July of 23, I was not able to make, and it killed my channel. Lee Camp had a YouTube channel with 250,000 subscribers, and they pulled it. Thousands of videos. Didn't demonetize, wiped it off, got rid of it. And other comics, Ron Placone, Dave we've been censored for a while. I bought 5 Instagram ads when my special manifested, which is available on Apple TV. It premiered in March of 2023 on All Things Comedy. And I bought 5 Instagram ads, and I was denied ads. Instagram did not want to take my money. They said my clips from my special were too political. They were community guideline violations. I had 5 ads denied. I had a billboard in Times Square in October of 2022 that was called Too Political, and I wasn't allowed to put it up. The billboard was me holding a microphone saying, Graham Elwood, live October, 18th at 8 p.m., tickets at BroadwayComedyClub.com, and me holding a mic on stage. And I submitted a new one with a question mark over my face and specials, and took out my name and said, special secret show, October 18th, tickets available. And I thought maybe that would work. And they approved. So my face and name were deemed too political. So this has been happening for a while. And I want to just say, but no one believed us. People didn't think it was real. And we kept saying, we're being censored. Obama censored people. Like this has been happening for a while. Obama put Chelsea Manning in prison. Edward Snowden had to flee to Russia. That was under the Obama administration. So this is what drives me nuts about liberals, is they think everything was great until Trump got here. Trump does the most egregious vulgar versions of what other presidents have been doing for a while. Calling up the FCC and saying, I'm going to pull ABC's license. I'm going to pull your license unless you kick Jimmy Kimmel off the air. But this censorship that has been happening for a while. And everyone, called us crazy. Oh, Graham, and you guys say all that crazy stuff. Graham, you talk about Epstein. And I talk about the war machine. And I would show you I say on the show, follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. And people would call me crazy. And now they fire Jimmy Kimmel. And whoa, maybe I'm not so crazy. Maybe Lee Camp is not so crazy. So when you watch Government Secrets, I always say, welcome to Government Secrets, hosted by the two most censored comedians in America, Lee Camp and Graham Elwood. I don't know anybody that's been censored in America more than Lee. And they'll never and Lee had a show, Redacted TV, and the Department of Justice shut down Russian TV, shut it down. The country that claims to have freedom of speech we're not allowed to have just a different point of view. We're not allowed to watch Russian TV. Oh, but they're pushing, pro-Putin propaganda. Okay. Can't I, as the viewer, determine that on my own? So the Department of Justice doesn't think that the American people can make their own decisions, but yet they have these propaganda machines. Fox News is propaganda. MSNBC is propaganda. CNN is propaganda. Why are those allowed? So the hypocrisy in this country has been going on for a while, and now they're bringing Jimmy back, and we'll see. And if he gives some apology, we'll see how compromised he is. But any political comic that calls out both parties, you've been censored hard. And if you've been doing it consistently. So thanks for watching my show. Support our show with a super chat, but we've been so throttled. My revenue is down probably 70, 80%. And, we're on Rockfin. Support us over there. Support us with Bitcoin. Support us in the scroll below. But if they're going after late night talk show hosts, the safest comedians out there, I'm traveling internationally. Am I going to be allowed back in the country? I mean, and say what you want to say about Charlie Kirk. He said a lot of racist, inflammatory, offensive things. He also started calling out Trump for not releasing the Epstein files. He also started calling out everybody's ties, the government, Republican and Democrat ties, getting money from AIPAC. He called those things out. He went on Ben Shapiro's show and he's like, man, this supporting Israel is not America first. And you watch Ben Shapiro go, oh, God. There's plenty of clips of Charlie Kirk saying very offensive stuff. Absolutely. And that's his right to say it. And he didn't deserve to be killed for it. And also he started in the last several months, less than 6 months, I think, was like, why aren't we releasing the Epstein names? And why are we giving money to Israel? And then he gets killed. So we're not a free country anymore. We don't have freedom of speech, and we haven't had it for a while. We've had censorship for a while. This is just the most public and egregious version. But people didn't believe me. I knew that. I could look in their face. They go, oh, wow, that's crazy. Or they'd be like, but Graham says crazy. They'd look at me like I'm some Alex Jones guy when all I'm saying is the two-party system is corrupt. And, I've been censored. And now Jimmy Kimmel has, but now he's coming back. So what's this new version of Jimmy Kimmel going to be? Trump's great, I'm sorry, or is he going to come back swinging? I don't think he's going to come back swinging hard. We'll see. Like, share, subscribe, follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. I'm going to tell you what I believe, guys. You might not agree with me, and I might even get it wrong, but everything I say, I believe. There's no corporate guy whispering in my ear telling me, oh, there's just YouTube telling me I can't talk about this, that, and the other thing. So I'm censored on a daily basis, and I have to self-censor. Welcome to the freedom of America, the United States of North Korea. Follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth, shave your knuckles for justice. Boom.